So first, let's take a look at the Redmi 10X 5G and the 10X Pro 5G, because in my opinion, these two are more interesting than the regular Redmi 10X. Design-wise, they kinda look similar to what we've been seeing with the Redmi Note 9 series, a Gorilla Glass 5 covered glass sandwich with an aura balanced design. There's a square camera bump to the center. To the front though, we do not have a punch hole. Instead, here's a water drop notch, and by the way, the screen, it's AMOLED. Yes, the Redmi 10X 5G series, it comes with an AMOLED panel, a 6.57-inch Full HD Plus screen here. It also has a touch sampling rate of 180Hz. The refresh rate is still at 60Hz though. Even then, the fact that we now have a budget Redmi phone with an AMOLED panel, that too one that supports HDR10+, it's simply amazing. Can't wait to get my hands on this mid-ranger. Now, it doesn't just stop there. We also have MediaTek's Dimensity 820 inside both these devices. Now, we've covered the new MediaTek Dimensity processors in the past when they were launched earlier this year. The main highlight here is that they bring dual 5G and flagship level CPU performance into the mid-range. In fact, the Dimensity 820 scores over 4 lakh in Antutu, which is very comparable to what we've seen from last year's flagship Snapdragon 855 and even the 855 Plus. And it leaves the mid-range Snapdragon 765G in the dust. But then again, these are Antutu scores theoretical performance on paper specs, so take it with a grain of salt till we get real-life testing results. That being said, the MediaTek Dimensity 820 is an octa-core chipset. It's got two clusters of quad cores. The first is a A55 cluster clocked in at 2 GHz, and then we have a high-performance A76 cluster that's clocked much higher at 2.6 GHz. There's also a 5-core Mali G57 GPU. So from power to performance, on paper at least, this seems like a complete mid-range package. Redmi has even included liquid cooling in here to keep the temperatures under check. On to battery next. Both phones come with 4520 mAh battery units inside. The difference between the regular 10X 5G and the 10X Pro 5G lies in the charging speeds. Well, the regular 10X 5G comes with a 22.5 watt charger, which is slightly higher than the 18 watt charger that's now become standard for Xiaomi. The Redmi 10X Pro 5G comes with a 33 watt fast charger that we first saw debut with the Redmi Note 9 Pro Max. That, coupled with a new 7nm processor and MIUI 12, makes me optimistic of the battery life situation here. Now, coming to the sundries, it seems like we still have an IR blaster and a 3.5mm headphone jack on both these phones. There seems to be a thick splash-proof nano coating here that gives us an IP53 rating. We then have NFC on both the 10X Pro 5G. Other than that, Redmi has also improved the speaker setup in here, and the phones come with high-res audio certification. The new linear motor that we saw on the Redmi Note 9 Pro also makes its return. Finally, since we do have an AMOLED screen on both phones, Redmi has gone with an under-display fingerprint scanner. A budget phone with an under-display fingerprint scanner and pretty solid internals, so that's something nice. Another thing nice is the optics in here. There is some interesting change between both devices. Now, the primary and the ultra-wide, they seem to be the same across both devices. We have a 48 megapixel primary sensor. We can't confirm this yet, but it seems like it's an OmniVision sensor instead of a Sony or a Samsung. If this is indeed the OV48C, then I'd be very excited to see what Redmi has managed to pull off here. The website advertises some cool features based on long exposure shots like shuttle crowd, light trails from moving vehicles, moving clouds, star trails, painting with light streaks, and finally a composite picture of a starry night. We also have special effect filters thrown in there. The cyberpunk look is something that really caught my eye. Onto the ultra wide, we have an 8 megapixel here. For the 10X 5G, this is combined with a 2 megapixel depth sensor, while the 10X Pro 5G, it gets two more sensors. One is a 5 megapixel macro shooter, while the other is an 8 megapixel sensor with a telephoto lens. There's also support for OIS. It can do 3x optical, 5x hybrid, and 30x digital. As far as selfie snappers go, there's a 20 megapixel shooter on the Pro variant, while the regular 10X 5G gets a 16 megapixel selfie camera. Okay, we'll talk about prices a bit later. For now, let's take a quick peek at the regular 10X or the Redmi 10X 4G. There's a strong rumor suggesting that this would make its way over to India as the Redmi Note 9. Unfortunately, the specs here aren't as jaw-dropping as with the 5G variants. There's no 5G to start with. There's no Dimensity 820 either. Instead, we have the MediaTek Helio G85 chip. Again, not a bad chip. It falls somewhere between the G80 that we've seen on the Narzo 10 and the G90T that we've seen on the Redmi Note 8 Pro. Onto the screen, we have a 6.53-inch Full HD Plus LCD panel, but to compensate for the lack of AMOLED, we get a punch hole to the top left, which holds the 13 megapixel selfie camera. So what is your preference here? Would you guys like an AMOLED with a water drop notch or an LCD with a punch hole? Here's a poll, make a choice. Now, as far as batteries go, we have a 5020 mAh battery here that is paired with the 18 watt fast charger. We also have reverse charging via OTG at 9 watts. On the software side of things, we have MIUI 12. As for optics, we have a quad camera module to the back, a primary 48 megapixel snapper paired with an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a couple of 2 megapixel depth and macro sensors. And with that, let's talk price. The Redmi 10X 4G starts at 999 yuan, and that's for the base 4128 variant, which converts to around 10,500 rupees or $140. We also have an upgraded variant with 6 gigs of RAM that comes out at 1199 yuan, just a shade over 12,500 rupees converted. Now we have a high chance of this making its way to India as the Redmi Note 9, and if it does, I expect the price to be pretty similar. Now moving on, the Redmi 10X 5G, we have 3 variants, 664, 6128 and 8128. The Redmi 10X 5G starts at 1599 yuan, that's almost 17,000 rupees or $220 for the base 664. As for the Redmi 10X Pro 5G, it comes in 2 variants, 8 gigs of RAM with 128 gigs of storage or 256 gigs of storage. The base variant starts at 2299 yuan or 24,000 rupees, $320. An additional bit of info, the higher 8 gigs of RAM and 128 or 256 gigs of storage, they come with a faster LPDDR4X and UFS 2.1 standard for RAM and storage respectively. Redmi also launched 3 TVs, the Redmi TV X55, X65 and the X50. The cheapest one of course is the X50, but the price is yet to be revealed. The X55 comes in at 2299 yuan, but there's an introductory price of 1699 yuan, or which, I mean, it converts to around 17,500 rupees. That's insane, right? It's a 55-inch TV, a 4K TV, which has Dolby Audio. It's got 4 speakers, 12.5 watts each, and 4 tweeters. At least that's what we got from the translation. It could be 8 speakers, I don't know. We will confirm in the description or the comments. Anyway, along with that, we also saw the Redmibook 16 making its debut. This comes with a 16-inch Full HD screen, as the name indicates. There are very thin bezels and a new Ryzen 5 4500U or Ryzen 7 4700U CPU inside. We also have Redmibook 13 and Redmibook 14 that have both been refreshed with new Ryzen chips inside them. The Redmibook 16, it starts at 3799 yuan, just a shade over 40,000 Indian rupees converted. The base variant has the Ryzen 5 paired with 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of SSD storage. I'm really excited for this one because latest rumors suggest that Redmi is looking to bring their Redmibooks to India. Now, would you guys love to see a dedicated video on the Redmibooks or even the Redmi X series of TVs? Let us know in the comments below, and if you guys want it, I'll try to make it happen. Also, what do you think about the new Redmi 10X series? Personally, I think we may see the 10X 5G come to India as a new Poco, or heck, even under the Redmi branding. If it does, I'd really be happy to see them because it seems to be quite a nice deal. Let me know what you think. Would you like to see these phones in India? Leave a comment down below. And that about wraps up this video. Hope you liked it. Hope you found it informative. If you did, give this video a thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead.